Hey guys, it's Mark with the Chopper Express here, and today I'm bringing out my Arlong deck that I used to get first place at our local game store's box tournament. I went 5-0 with it. Really overperformed, did a lot better than I thought I was going to do. So I took it back to another box tournament later, or a couple days later, and I lost in the finals of that one, so I think it was a total record of 8-1 with Arlong. Yeah, so here's my list. I'm going to start explaining all the cards. So first, Arlong the leader. When he has 2 Dawn under him and he attacks, you can pay a third Dawn to play up to one character with cost 4 or less and trigger from your hand. So it's basically like a Dofi, but you're not locked into the blue color, so I think it's a lot better. And yeah, I'll start with the green cards. So first we have Killer and Law. They're more blockers. I just wanted more blockers because I don't think Killer had enough of playable ones. And Killer helps with maintaining cards because when you're playing a lot of trigger cards from your hand, you just start losing out on card advantage. And your hand size gets really low, so you want more cards that replenish it, which is why you have Killer and Daifuku here to help you maintain cards in your hand. Law, just really good blocker. You can bounce like your puddings to replay them to search. You can bounce Parasparrows and replay them just to restand them so they can't get attacked into. Also lets you bounce anything, play killer, attach it onto it for some extra defense if you're trying to either protect your life or protect your attackers, because the deck's pretty aggressive, so you really want to try your best to protect the guys you're swinging with. And then for the East Blue cards, I just play 4 Gain and 2 Django. Gain is basically a custom card. Um, he rests 2 of your opponent's characters that cost 4 or less, so it's really strong into Zoro, helps with that matchup a lot, because that matchup can be difficult because how aggressive they can be early. And because you're a 4 life leader, it struggles a little bit more than some of the 5 life decks. But this helps maintain, clean up the board. Yeah, so it helps you clean up the board if it's getting a little too wide for you, and it helps you go for game against like Borsalinos and other blockers. Django is a similar thing where you can either rest it to kill a guy that you really need to get rid of, or if you're just trying to go for game, lets you restand your leader, which is really strong. I don't play any other East Blue cards because honestly, I just don't think they're strong enough. Like Nami's a good searcher and has a good trigger, but the cards that searching aren't impactful enough to warrant playing. Where I think you can play more like yellow cards in a bigger Big Mom engine because these cards I think are more impactful in most games. And so onto yellow cards. For Sanji, it's just 2k counter. Nothing special about it. You can play it to do the same thing that Daifuku does, which is just add a card from your life to your hand and put one on top of your life for free draw. But the way this deck curves out, you don't really get a chance to do that very often until later in the game, so I don't think it's worth playing most of the time. For Cracker, honestly, it's the best card in the deck. Because you're a 4 life leader, you get the double attack bonus very early on. And it's such a threat early on that it just applies a lot of pressure and forces them to deal with it. So if it lives for a turn or two, it's really, really strong. I play for Smoothie, another trigger that you can play off your leader effect. This one's probably the worst of the 3 attackers, which are Smoothie, Cracker, and Parasparrow. So a lot of time it saves in your hand for counter power if you already have Cracker or Parasparrow, but its effect to take a life to boost it comes up when you're going for game and helps you get your life lower if your Cracker's already on board and y'all are even. So you still have to play it because there aren't any other triggers that are better than this one. Next, for Pudding, it just searches all the Big Mom pirates. It's pretty self-explanatory. For Parasparrow, same thing as Pudding, it searches when it dies. And it is a trigger for your Arlong leader. Pretty standard also. For Strucin, it's the other 2k counter. You might look at the list and think only 8 2k counters feels like a lot less than you would want. But because they're both searchable, between Pudding and Parasparrow also grabbing Strucin, is very rare that you have that you're wanting more 2k counters because you see them pretty often. Next, Daifuku. I kind of explained him earlier. He doesn't have trigger, so it makes him a little worse than playing like Parasparrow, Smoothie, and Cracker. But the draw just comes up a lot when you're running out of cards in your hand, so I think it's pretty good to play. For Brule, blocker has a trigger, so you can play it from life or play it off your leader effect if you need to. And then the last card is for the 7-drop Big Mom. I'm playing 7-drop Big Mom because I really wanted top end in the deck. And I think curving out on evens, or on odds, because that's what your leader wants to do is go first and have the odd curve, is a lot better. So I like this over Krieg. And just being able to apply pressure with it, especially when you're in an aggressive deck, so a lot of the time your opponent wants to give you a life, which just prolongs the game for you to beat them. So I think it's pretty strong. I don't think there's better top end out right now, but maybe in the future you could cut it for something else. And yeah, that's everything. I think I have other lists that play more like a bigger East Blue engine, but this is the one I've been playing with, and it just had more success than those. I just think the bigger Big Mom package and focusing on just aggroing them down with Cracker Smoothie and Parasparrow is the way to go. And what I was talking about with the Big Mom for curve is if you don't know the ideal curve for this deck, it's going first. If you have pudding on your first turn, it's fine. Turn 2, you're always attacking for 7 using your leader effect to get your first damage in. You're playing one of the 3 attackers ideally, which are Parasparrow, Cracker, and Smoothie. On your 5 dawn turn, you're most of the time I swing 7 with my whichever attacker I played, and then another 7 with my leader and playing another body, which is your 5 dawn. Turn 7, you'll have you use your hand to protect your attackers, so if they both live, it's perfect, because on turn 7 you are playing your Charlotte Linlin. And then ideally on that turn when you're tapped out, I don't swing with anything, because you rather them have a Dawn under them on the following turn, so you want to make sure they live. So not swinging on your 7 dawn turn besides your leader is good. So that way on your 9 dawn turn, you can just start attaching all your dawn to your 2 bodies and your Linlin and start pressuring them more. And they should be getting pretty low at that point, so you can look for game shots if you can. And yeah, I believe that's everything. This is the list. You can take a picture. You can try it out at your locals if you want to. It's been working out really well for me. I will probably have a gameplay video out sometime in the next couple of days, just so y'all can exactly see how I play it. So if you want to see that video, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're pretty new. And yeah, I'll try and get back to y'all with more Arlong content. Thanks for tuning in.